Hey everybody, Leah Klett here with the Christian Post. I'm so honored today to be joined by Sean Wolfington. He's the producer of the brand new film City of Dreams, a powerful film shedding light on the child trafficking industry. Sean, it is so nice to meet you. Really enjoyed this movie, but it is a tough watch, which I think is sort of the point. So take me back to why you wanted to be involved in a film about child trafficking. You're also involved in Sound of Freedom. This is a topic you are clearly really passionate about.
Well, to be honest, I wouldn't say this is a film that we wanted to make.
Mhm.
We had a list of maybe 8 or 10 other movies that we wanted to make. But with Sound of Freedom and City of Dreams, both of those were films that we were called to.
Mhm.
And, once you see something like that, it's hard to turn the other way. And to the extent that things are far from people's eyes, they're far from their heart. And when they're far from their heart, they're far from their actions. So it's our hope that we can bring this closer to people's eyes, closer to their heart, and drive action to not only raise awareness, but hopefully to mobilize millions of people to fight back against these traffickers, much like the character in the movie did, and have the courage to do whatever they can do to protect and save these innocent children from slavery.
Well, and the movie is inspired by true events and it highlights a very real and ongoing crisis. How did you ensure that the film, remained respectful to victims, but also was powerful enough to inspire change? Because those visuals are jarring.
Yeah, I mean, um, in both films, the reality is hard to watch, and in both cases, we could not tell the full story because I don't think the audience would want to see and experience the full story. So, our goal was to entertain people, obviously, and City of Dreams does an incredible job at just keeping everyone on the edge of their seat. When Tony Robbins saw it, I had more fun watching Tony watch it than watching the film itself, because it really is the definition of edge of your seat, but also wanting to have an impact, and hopefully light a candle in people's hearts that see this incredible, courageous young boy who had the courage to battle his captors, to free himself and others. And it's our hope that that courage inspires others to rise up and imitate his example and do whatever they can to help protect and save these kids.
Yes. Jesus does undergo a really profound journey from he's a soccer player, little boy, to a determined survivor. How important was it for you to convey this transformation, especially in terms of resilience and faith and highlighting the power of those themes?
That we all have faced, our own valleys, not as deep and dark as Jesus, but the people that see the movie, leave inspired by his example, just to never ever give up, because against all odds, he was able to fight back against his captors, not only to free himself, but to free the other children who were held captive with him. And we hope that his courage stiffens the spines of others to join the fight for the 12 million children who were victims today of modern day slavery, which is more than all 300 years of the transatlantic slave trade combined. It's a $150 billion industry. And it's our hope, both with Son of Freedom and with City of Dreams, to inspire millions of people, to stand up, to fight back, because together we can not only end child trafficking, but we can protect and save kids' lives. And it all it takes is one.
Mhm.
If we can save one child, it's worth it. And that is our Oscar. It's not a gold statue. It's a 8-year-old little boy, who's probably in a corner right now. One of the 12 million for sure, are begging God, to please send somebody, to help them. And it's our hope that when people see this movie, they become that somebody, and that they do whatever they can do. Mo made a masterful movie. He's a writer and a director. I'm a producer. You're a journalist. We all can do different things to help raise awareness about this critical issue.
Well, and I think that that's a good point that you raised, that we all want to do something, but I think sometimes we can see movies like this and we feel overwhelmed. How can your average person effectively help change this crisis?
Well, there's a lot of things people can do. I would say the easiest is if they go to cityofdreamsmovie.com. There is a battle plan. You click on join the fight, and there's a battle plan of 10 things people can do to raise awareness, because that is the first step to help people see it, feel it, and do something about it. Secondly, there's a whole resources section that is designed to help people protect their own families, but also to be on the lookout, to find out what it looks like so that you can report if you see anything suspicious. But it reminds me of Harriet Beecher Stowe. A lot of people think that President Abe Lincoln ended the Civil War. And if you want to look at what we can do now to end, this horrific crime of child slavery, it's good to look at throughout history to see how it was ended before. And it wasn't necessarily Abraham Lincoln. According to Abe himself, he credited Harriet Beecher Stowe. She was just a normal woman who lived in a free state. She was visiting her sister. She stumbled upon slavery. She was shocked, much like you maybe were when you watched the movie today. And she was distraught. She didn't know what to do. And her sister said, well, you're a writer, so why don't you write? And she wrote a book called Uncle Tom's Cabin. And that was read by millions of people. And a lot of them rose up and demanded change from their politicians. And that is when Abraham Lincoln, listened and made the main mission of the Civil War, to end legal slavery. And when he met her in the White House, he took a knee and kissed her hand and said, so you're the woman who started the Civil War. And I believe just like Harriet Beecher Stowe, Mo is a storyteller, and his story has the power to raise awareness. But these days, everyone's a storyteller. No matter what your profession, you can share online, the trailer of this movie that on its own is inspirational and powerful and could be a catalyst for change. But also lead people to watch the movie, which helps them see it, feel it, and have a higher chance of taking action to potentially save one life. And that's our mission. We want to do whatever we can to protect and save more children, from having to endure this nightmare.
Sean, why do you think there is such a lack of awareness about this issue? I know when Sound of Freedom came out, people were just shocked. I mean, I had friends who said, I didn't even know this was a problem. And I imagine City of Dreams is going to get the same reaction. People will say, I had no idea this was a problem, or the severity of the problem. Why don't we know more about this?
I really don't know. It's really surprising to me. I was surprised that there wasn't much coverage with Sound of Freedom. Spanish media covered it wholeheartedly. iHeartMedia covered it wholeheartedly, but a lot of mainstream media didn't really cover this. And I don't know. I know it's difficult to think about. It's painful to even contemplate these things happening to children. I think Mo did an incredible job, making this story engaging and entertaining, not just inspirational. But I really don't know. Another surprising thing is that we just got some word just yesterday from some celebrities who rallied behind the movie's mission to end child trafficking, that their posts on Instagram and Facebook were being shadow banned, meaning that the content they were sharing to help raise awareness about child trafficking was being censored by Meta. And that's very disappointing. I know Meta's intentions are to reduce any content that would have to do with child trafficking, but unfortunately, it seems like their algorithms can't tell the difference between things that are helping prevent child trafficking and those that are feeding that problem. And so even a lot of the celebrities and leaders and influencers who are trying to rally around this movie and its mission to raise awareness, their efforts are being impeded because new media is also, social media is not covering this, actually doing quite the opposite. Is ironically obstructing our ability to raise awareness. And we're trying to reach out to them because we know their intentions are good. They're probably just flagging it because it says child trafficking. But they should be able to tell the difference between those individuals that are trying to help versus those that are trying to hurt.
Well, this movie is being screened for Congress in an effort to raise awareness about human trafficking. What do you hope the screening will achieve? And how do you see the film ultimately contributing to real world change?
Well, when it comes to Congress, policies matter. With Sound of Freedom, there were, tens of thousands of children that were liberated as a result of people seeing the movie and taking action. But there were also laws created in countries around the world that added protection for children. And still today, the laws of the United States need to be bolstered. So it's our hope that by screening it for lawmakers, both from the left and the right, that they can join together, to put what matters, to everyone first, which is protecting the innocence of our children. And to the extent that they can create more laws to protect children, and also help together us raise awareness so that families can be aware of these challenges and threats to their children. Our hope is that that will save a life.
Wonderful. Well, Sean, thank you so much. Thank you for backing this very important mission and for letting your voice be heard and standing up for society's most vulnerable. Really appreciate it.
And thank you for covering this, because with your coverage, we can raise awareness. Even if somebody doesn't watch the movie, they can at least be aware and go to cityofdreamsmovie.com to get resources to not only protect their family, but other people's families as well.